Just put on some headphones and jumped on my machine. And I'm cutting rough and it's coming up all nice and clean. My homie's right behind me and he got some stuff to spring. All together now. Let's maintain that turf today, that turf today, that turf today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Turf Today, recorded on the Superintendent Network and brought to you, as always, by Toro. My name is Adam Kershane, joined by Brian Laurent, and everybody, this week we have Jim Pavonetti. Yes, you know the name, and if you don't, dig into this one because there's a lot of great stuff in it. Jim is a award-winning superintendent, has a lot to talk about, a lot of charisma, a fantastic person. I got to this one a little bit late, working at the golf course this morning, so we are getting ready to interview Jim any minute now. I'm going to patch Brian in, and we'll get this thing going.
Hello.
Oh, sorry I was late this morning. My goodness.
You're good.
Well,
Things
what time is
rocking
it?
and rolling out
Shit,
there.
we got to record. How was everything in Philly?
Great, man. Good week in Philly. First Super Scratch event went really well. And then was out at Aronimink for some pre-PGA championship stuff. So had a great visit out there. The boys are dialed in, ready to roll.
Nice,
Second major of the year.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. Course is in good shape this time of year.
Yeah, they're ready to roll. Greens were firm and fast, and rough's starting to kick now. They're finally starting to get some decent weather to kind of help some growth there. But fairways, I mean, everything just looked great. They're ready.
Nice.
And they
Nice,
got 80 volunteers ready to roll in on Sunday to help them get across the finish line.
That's fantastic. That'll be a good one on TV.
A week from Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first time on property. I was blown away with the golf course, man. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
When was the last time they would have hosted a major?
A major, it's been a while on the men's tour at least, but they hosted the BMW championship recently. So they've been a tour stop within the last decade or so.
Yeah, they've had some action.
I think it was somewhat recent. I can't remember what the year was on it, but
interesting.
Yeah, they've had a bunch of stuff out there. It's fairly original, Ross. They've still got 100-year-old push-up greens with some extensions that Gil came in and added back in.
Jim, how's it going?
Going good.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Doing all right. You're getting used to this stuff. You're making the rounds. Like you're like Hollywood these days, Jim.
I guess so.
Good for you.
Yeah, very, very excited to get to talk to you here, Jim. I know we've chatted a little bit over the years on Instagram, and you're somebody that's done a lot. So I don't even know why we haven't had you on the show yet, but it sounds like this is the perfect time.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Jim, we always like to kick things off. Just give you a little bit of time here and give yourself an introduction.
Grew up right outside of New York City in the New York metropolitan area. Like most of us, just started working at the local Muni golf course in my town. Grew up in Eastchester. It's actually only about 6 or 7 miles from where I'm sitting right now.
Oh, nice.
But I mean, you guys know that New York metro area and the clubs that go along with it. There's a lot of household name clubs there, and a lot of really good clubs around there that kind of go unnoticed because of the notoriety of, your Wingfoots and your Westchesters and your Sleepy Hollows and things like that. But really cool place to live, cool place to grow up. Worked through high school, went to Rutgers winter program, became a superintendent right before I turned 30. First job was at West Point, which was really cool, military course / university course / open to the public, hosting NCAA Division I events and things like that. So I actually hosted probably more prestigious events in my first 2 years as a superintendent than in the previous 25. So
tossed right into the fire.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my first year there was 2001. So I was there for September 11th at West Point on September 11th.
Wow.
Boy, oh
The
boy.
following year, 2002, was their bicentennial of the school. So they had every living president do the commencement speech for the graduation. And, a lot of those people that were there for that bicentennial came through the golf course playing and stuff. So really cool, just seeing famous people or, high-end government officials and things like that coming through your golf course almost every day that summer. So
Yeah.
pretty cool.
What was Secret Service like there? Do they have snipers in the woods and all that fun
They have
stuff,
all-
sweeping the property?
It's exactly how you hear about it, like four holes blocked off
Yeah.
where there's, two fake foursomes in front that are not even playing golf, but they have golf bags, and
Wow.
two fake foursomes in the back. They all have golf bags and submachine guns under there.
I was going to say long
My
rifles
shirt.
stuffed into the golf bags instead of
Yeah.
clubs.
What'd you shoot today?
Exactly.
Nothing.
It's funny, like it's the home for the golf team, for the military academy's golf team. So the golf coach gave me a hat and it said Army Golf, and I remember being in the city one day and I'm wearing the hat in New York City. And this homeless guy came up to me and goes, Army Golf, like, what's that? Like, you start playing golf and they throw hand grenades at you and stuff. I'm like, yeah, kind of.
Oh,
That's
so
awesome.
good. Jim, I always have to ask people, being from that area, where do you lean sports wise? Yankees, Mets? Like where do you go?
I have season tickets to the Yankees.
Okay,
I'm all
there you go.
Yankees.
There you go.
Unfortunately, also Jets.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. You got to take one with the other, right?
We're going through a rough 50-year spell.
Any hope from the draft, though, Jim?
I have lost all hope.
Yeah. You sound like a Browns fan.
Yeah, we're my whole family's like really a baseball family. It's really the main sport we follow. I watch football more to like manage the fantasy team than caring because of how bad my team is. But no, I have a 20 game pack for the Yankees, and I probably went to 35 or 36 games last year. I go to every
Oh, wow.
postseason game, virtually every Red Sox game. I even make it up to Fenway at least once a year for a Yankees game up that way. So that's 3
Yeah.
hours from here. But no,
Nice.
we're a baseball family.
Nice. I kind of took us on a separate tangent here after you were talking about the Army stuff, but tell us how you found your way to Fairview.
Yeah. So after I was at West Point for 2 years, but my plan was to stay there for 5 years and work my way to like certified superintendent. I was going to do like Audubon certification, things like that. And in my second year, there was a bunch of premium jobs that opened up back in Westchester. So that was like my goal was to like just come back to this area at a really, a good job. And so all these jobs all opened up. I was newly married, and I think there was like about 7 or 8 good jobs in the Westchester area and in the Long Island area all at once, and early too, like before October 1st or like like before like the holiday season. And so, just being married, I said to my wife, like, my plan was for 5 years, but all these jobs are open. There's probably not going to be any jobs in 5 years if all these are all, newly filled jobs. So I started to apply to some of them and, just kept hearing, oh, this job's open, that job's open. And this is back when GCSAA, their jobs would come on Friday. So it wouldn't be like as somebody like advertised, they pop up like they do now. Like on Friday, there'd be like 25 new jobs, but like all during the week, there'd be nothing. Like it only came out on Friday. So I came home from work on a Friday, and the person that was spraying for me at West Point said, oh, his old boss up at the Edison Club up in the Albany, Saratoga region, he's leaving there and that job's going to be open. So I said something to my wife. My wife looked online to see if it popped up, because I said, oh, it's probably on the website, She looked it up. It wasn't. They didn't advertise nationally, so it wasn't on. It wasn't on the website. So she just secretly, without even telling me, just changed some wording on my cover letter and mailed it to the Edison. Just looked up their address online and mailed it. They called me like 2 days later. I have no idea who this is calling me.
That's awesome.
And they're like, we'd like to interview you. We're going to do 2 sets of interviews this Saturday and Sunday, and next Saturday and Sunday, and you have a choice of which one. And I didn't even know who I was talking to. The guy was just like, I'm the search chairman, and we're going through these resumes and this and that. So one thing led to another. Ended up getting that job. Edison Club is, it's almost like the Westchester Country Club of that Albany region. It's 27 holes. At the time, they had almost 700 members.
Oh.
A lot of rounds, like 45,000 to 50,000 rounds, but private club.
In upstate. Wow.
Yeah, Saratoga County. So I moved up there. We were up there for 5 years, and bought a house right on the Hoosick River. I could go out in the backyard and catch smallmouth bass every afternoon. Probably would never leave there if it wasn't for a really good opportunity. And, 5 years later, we heard about Fairview and, Greenwich. It's right on the border of Greenwich. We're right at the Westchester Airport. But it's like, no exaggeration, 30 minutes from Yankee Stadium, 30 minutes from Manhattan. And it's a really good, quiet club. It's like the nicest club no one ever heard of. Great membership. They have everything here. They have a hotel with 24 suites. They have full tennis complex, pool, the normal country club stuff, and just a gorgeous 18-hole golf course. They bought this land. So this club was formed in 1904. And they moved from Bronxville to Elmsford, and they built Donald Ross built the golf course in Elmsford. They had that golf course until the mid-'60s. And in the mid-'60s, there was some highway development, expanding where the Tappan Zee Bridge is now, expanding that highway, and they were taking some of the land off of the golf course. And back then, and even to this day, most of the members are Manhattan residents. And so the idea of a country club, it's the actual meaning of a country club. Like, we go to the country and relax and have peace and quiet and this and that. So the whole idea of this highway being built up against the golf course and losing some of the golf course, and the golf course is going to be exposed to the highway, that didn't sit well with the membership. So this is now we're talking 1965. So 1966, they bought 250 acres in Greenwich, hired Robert Trent Jones to design a 27-hole golf course. There was enough land for all that. It was a old polio, convalescent hospital. They converted the hospital to a clubhouse, built a pool, built tennis courts, ended up only building 18 holes. So we have all this land that surrounds us and no neighbors. And, and think about where we are. There's no neighbors here. I mean, we can fire up buffalo blowers at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. There's nobody to call the cops. There's no noise, no noise issues. We don't have a single member. So once you tee off, all you see is woods surrounding the golf course, and the woods is either club property, or it's the Audubon Society of Greenwich property, or Greenwich Land Trust, which is like Forever Wild, conservation property. So pretty unique in that way. A lot of my peers around here, they have nothing but problems with neighbors, and they have to work from the middle of the golf course and work their way out to the outer edges so that they don't break the law or whatever. So we're lucky enough to have that here, which is a pretty unique place, really rugged territory, a lot of rock outcroppings and things like that, but beautiful golf course.
It's early, it's quiet, and there's no margin for error. The course doesn't prepare itself, and the people who do it right know what it takes. This podcast is powered by the Toro Company. Equipment that shows up every single day, just like you do. Reliable, precise, and proven. Because when the first group steps up, the work is already done. Toro. Count on it.
We had a couple of big MGA events early on in 2013, which was my 5th season here. We had the Met Junior, and Cameron Young won that, which is pretty cool. And incoming, I can't remember how old he was, but he probably only like maybe 15 years old at the time or so, maybe even younger than that. And everyone's like, this kid that's coming from Sleepy Hollow is just going to win the tournament. Like, we don't even have to bother having it. But as I recall, it was a pretty close tournament. I mean, not like he ran away with it, but he did handily win it. We've had some other cool tournaments. And then for about 7 years straight, we hosted the Met PGA Championship, which kind of like blocked us from hosting other things because, you know, the USGA or the MGA would be like, oh, no, Fairview already has the Met PGA this year, so don't bother them. So we had that right up until COVID. So now since COVID, now we're starting to get into the mix again with some new tournaments. So last year we hosted the Met Senior PGA Open, which was awesome, and they loved it. They loved the course. A lot of those people hadn't seen the course in a while, and we had since done a Billy Bunker renovation and a lot of tree work, a lot of, you know, addressing growing environments and things like that, and opening up sight lines and things. So people were really impressed. So I think we're going to start seeing some bigger things here now. This year we have, actually next Monday, we have the U.S. Open. Well, actually, a week from this Monday, we have the U.S. Open local qualifier here. It's the first USGA event I've had since 2012 or 13 also. So,
nice.
So it's a little, you know, it's fun to get back in the mix of some of that stuff. You know, as fun as the PGA thing was for 7 years straight, it's nice to get something a little different now, a little different crowd.
Yeah. So you've been there now for almost 2 decades. That's a good run in an area like that with lots of competition and extremely demanding expectations. What's been your key to longevity at one place for that long in that region?
You know, you try to keep the communication lines open as much as possible. I write a very detailed and elaborate weekly email that has the same color photos you guys all see on my social media. So I have a captive audience, and I just try to sort of reinvent myself along the way. You know, we've been concentrating on like a lot of environmental programs and things that have been getting some attention and awards and, you know, magazine articles and things like that. And, you know, continuously making the golf course better. One of the things, and I wrote this article a long time ago for my own chapter on creating your own maintenance standards and like a maintenance standards manual. And this is like sort of stems off of something from probably more than 20 years ago from the USGA that had an article similar to this. But I took my maintenance standards to a different level where each section. So you're writing like your standards of like how you maintain your greens every day, what you do, what you mow with, what the height of cut is in season, what your standards are with data and things like that. But then I also have what is the next level for greens now? Like, does that mean like putting all new new XGD style drainage in all the greens that don't have it, or softening some contours to accommodate the fast speeds and things like that? So like each section has like the answer to the next level. So in the long run, you know, instead of a club saying, we're going to make a change with the superintendent because we want to take this place to the next level. Well, I've been defining that next level to them for the past 20 years. And every time we can afford something, we do it. So having that and being able to reinvent yourself and being able to be the answer to like, well, what can we do to elevate the level of our fairways? Like how can we make them play firmer and faster? And it's all in that manual already. And every year we kind of like reevaluate that manual and sort of rewrite it and edit it and come up with new ideas. So that's really been the key is just always being the one that they come to for the answers instead of them looking elsewhere.
Planning is so important in your role, and it really shows how organized you are. So that's perfect.
Proactive approach. I love it.
Absolutely. You mentioned your award there. That's a recent award for you and the golf course, the President's Award for Sustainability through the GCSAA. So just talk about that a little bit and some of the initiatives you guys have at your club.
Yeah, I be honest with you, had no idea that it was coming when they called me and told me.
It was probably your wife, right? She sent it in.
Probably. I didn't even know, how I got nominated or anything like that. But it has been really cool. Dealing with the environment and doing environmental programs has always resonated with me. It's probably the reason why once I started this as a summer job, stayed with it, was just working with the outdoors and my love for fishing, my love for wildlife and stuff like that. And, when I became an assistant, Audubon International started their programs and started their education run of, these programs that you can join in. And I just remember as an assistant saying, that's definitely something that I'm going to pursue when I become a superintendent. And so, it's just like everything else with the maintenance side. Same goes with the environmental side. Every year you get to the end of the year and you said, well, we did a good job. These are the things we tried. These are the things that didn't work. These are the things that worked well. Let's capitalize on these things that worked well, and let's see how can we make it better. And I do the same thing with sustainable programs. And now with the onset of BMPs coupled with Audubon, there's just been so many little opportunities of sharing some of these programs with other people. And so I guess that's led to some notoriety. I guess it's led to some awards and things like that. But really it's, I tell a lot of people too when they come to me and they're like, my club's mentioned Audubon to me, so now I think I have to start pursuing that. And I'll tell them the good news is that you're probably already doing 90% of the things that you're supposed to do. You're just not documenting it yet. So it's a matter of a couple of timely photos and realizing, oh yeah, that's true. We are doing this. We are doing that. We do have a wash water recycle system. We do have buffer zones around our waterways, and we're not spraying into the water. Stuff like that, and it's just a matter of documenting it and organizing all those thoughts to get yourself through the program. And then that last 5 or 10% that you aren't doing is just going to make you a better superintendent, going to make the golf course better and safer. I say the same thing when people come to me about becoming a CGCS. If you've already been a professional superintendent for 3 or 4 years, you're probably 95% there. And the 5% that you're going to get out of going through the program and completing it, it's going to make you better. You might not have like a documented way of having orientation for a new employee, but I should. And that program makes you do it. So stuff like that, those might be the little things that it's like that all you need to do is get you there. So it's a matter of just taking some time to document the things. But I don't think I'm doing anything crazy out of the ordinary other than just trying to get better every year. But I think we're all trying to get better every year.
I mean, from an environmental standpoint too, Jim, I know the Northeast tends to be a little more strict on some regulations and stuff like that. I mean, you mentioned you're pretty much doing 90% of it already. I mean, does a lot of that come from working with the local restrictions and things like that have already kind of been put in place through the state?
Yeah, I guess so. Most of the stuff I think that we're doing on a regular basis are the things that the local town here or the state or the county are already requiring. But most of the stuff is just common sense
Yeah.
stuff. It's not like, crazy ideas that are giving you like all kinds of extra work.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any restrictions when it comes to certain products. If the product is legal to use in Connecticut, I can use it. But I do have friends in this area that are at newer golf courses, and in order to build those golf courses, had to agree to certain standards that are beyond the law, like saying you can't use a product that has a danger call symbol or whatever, that kind of stuff. But we don't really have that here. I'm on the town's sustainability committee.
Oh, nice.
We in this town we have 8 private country clubs with golf courses, plus a municipal golf course, plus I don't know how many other private field clubs with tennis and whatever, and a lot of polo clubs and things like that in this town. So there wasn't any representation on that committee for golf whatsoever, and it's made up of pretty much citizens that are passionate about the environment, but might not really have a background in turf or in
anything environmentally related.
They're just
Their education comes from the internet.
Yeah. So what I found is in these meetings that I've attended, when I offer up an opinion, the whole room goes silent because they're listening to every word I say, because they're looking at me as like this guy, he knows how to grow grass, and they lean to me like, how can we promote natural grass fields over synthetic fields and things like that. So it's really giving golf a good name in town, and they pay attention. They pay attention to that, and it's eye opening for them too when they hear something like, I test the water that comes onto my property, and I test the water that leaves my property 3 times a year, and in every case, there's less nitrates and less phosphorus that leaves the property than enters the property. So the golf course is actually filtering water before it gets to the Byron River, which is a stock trout river that ends up going into the Long Island Sound. And all of these things have been hotbeds for media of there's pesticide and fertilizer runoff going into the Long Island Sound and killing all the lobsters. And then they hear from a golf course superintendent that, well, my golf course is filtering the water before it even gets there. So, they're like, turf is a really great filter. And they're like, wow, it's the stuff that you don't read that in the New York Times, unfortunately. That's not what sells newspapers.
Yeah. And you've got all the data to prove it. I always find that interesting. You're lucky because you're on that board and you're able to educate them. But there are a lot of towns. I mean, I was just at a place today that they were, fighting tooth and nail to try and get some minor changes made to like 10 acres, all doing it environmentally responsible. Why do you think there is such a bad perception of the industry and of golf courses within the general public?
With the exception of the last 10 years, that golf in general has just done a poor job of educating the general public, and even the non-golfing public, or the golfing public, either way. I think in the last 10 years, though, we've come a long way. They have thank the superintendent day and like National Golf Day and a lot of state government golf days and things like that. I think we're well on our way at educating people, but I think we just did a poor job in the last 40 years. So once that public, that's the public opinion. If you don't tell them, they'll make their own opinion. So it just takes, and it's going to take a lot of time because I mean, people just have that ingrained. There's plenty of people that, I've heard say, oh yeah, golf courses just dump chemicals and fertilizer and they use wild amount of water. Like, why would you use wild amount of water? Your number one goal is to have firm, fast golf course with deep roots. Why would you intentionally dump water?
Yeah.
And then when I say it that way, they're like, oh yeah. And then they have nothing to say, they don't even know what to say to that.
That's so cool.
In the public perception, they're like, oh, this green oasis in the middle of a desert. It's like,
Yeah.
And in your mind, like, oh, they're using every drop of water in that desert.
Well, Jim, one of the things I've heard you say about sustainability is that it doesn't take a huge budget. So just wondering if you have some advice for any superintendents out there just looking to improve conditions and throw a few practices at their course without having to spend too much money.
Yeah, so I'll give you a great example. So we spent a lot of time. So my golf course is in a remote area, even though we're so close to New York City. The town of Greenwich, we're in what the town of Greenwich calls, the residents call the back country. There's no city water back here. There's no sewer water back here. So the larger organizations like a school or whatever has their own sewage treatment plant, including us. We have our own sewage treatment plant on property that we manage. Then that treated water goes into our irrigation ponds. So that water is going to, come along with its problems of, promoting algae and promoting, aquatic weeds and things like that. So the club was spending a lot of money having an outside contractor come and keep the ponds basically weed free every 2 weeks during the season. So we started a program. We did an irrigation system in 2011. And when we did the irrigation system, we budgeted in to put pond diffusers so that when we're doing all these trenches for the irrigation lines, we could put power to all the ponds and then put air diffusers in to try to circulate the water a little bit. So we had that was like the real one expense. Then other than that, we mark the course every Thursday for the weekends. And when we mark the course, we throw in black dye packs into the ponds. And that's supposed to shade the ultraviolet light that causes algae blooms. And then the final thing we did is we got these cages and we stuff them with barley straw. The barley straw is like $20 a bale or whatever. We go through like maybe 4 bales a year. And so we went from spending anywhere from $24,000 to $30,000 a year in chemical treatments to buying like $6,000 worth of pond dye a year and like a couple $100 worth of barley straw. And we'll make it through some summers with one chemical application now or none. And a couple times we've had none. And the ponds are completely perfect. So now we've saved the club over $20,000 a year since 2012. So you got all that money. So there's a way right there that you don't have the money to spray ponds. I've got a solution where you might not have to spray ponds, or at least maybe on the worst year you get away with like spraying once, on the hottest week of the year or something like that, where just the environment just overcomes like all the other things that the IPM program that you're doing. But that's one thing right there. But I mean, if you can find ways to conserve water, you're going to save money on energy. And if you're buying water, you're saving money there. So I mean, a lot of the sustainable programs end up saving you money or labor one way or another. It's not like you need big money to get some of these things done. Most of these things actually end up saving you money.
We are back with another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. Our question today comes in from George Frost. What are good ideas for new superintendents looking to work with/hire an agronomist?
Awesome. Well, thanks again for having me on the show this week, Adam, and thanks again for all the end user submissions. Where we get some really great questions every week. So, George, your question here, I think from a, where do I start, square one type of deal, for a new superintendent, right? I'm always going to try to go look for an agronomist that probably brings a combination of that, university level technical experience if they can have it, and then also real field experience, right? They've, worked on a golf course or worked in some sort of experience where they've gotten some hands-on experience growing turf. And, ideally you want somebody that has that, background and understanding of soil chemistry, pathology, water movement, how fertility is going to work, but also has stood on for instance, a creeping grass green in the middle of July and had to make a hard call on how you're going to keep it alive, or whether you have to syringe or whatnot. So really, when I think of the best agronomists, a lot of them don't necessarily prescribe products or programs. They ask really good probing questions, and then they help you understand what matters most about your course, whether that be playability, labor, budget, and what your members are actually feeling out there. So I, look for new supers to look for an agronomist who can, help teach them, simplify, make you better over time, and not necessarily make you dependent on them for all the information that you're going to be using every day in your job. And, the right partner, helps accelerate your learning curve and gives you confidence in your own decision making. So I know for us, obviously, that's one of the, things with our products. If, you're working with us, we certainly try to offer that as a service, and a lot of folks do as well if you don't have a starting point. And then, of course, obviously, the USGA's been offering agronomy visits from their regional agronomists for long periods of time, and obviously great to work with as well, depending on your budget. So those are a couple good options. But again, I think coming in it with the right mentality of you're trying to get somebody that's going to help you learn quicker, and over time take over that and not necessarily be dependent on it, is the best route to go.
Nice. So there's so much help in this industry. That's huge. And I like how you highlighted being able to talk to people at certain companies, because if you're spraying something or putting something out and it's important and you have questions, well, there are people working at those companies doing the research and kind of behind the scenes able to talk to you. And people at the Andersons are always available to talk their products or any other products. So it's a great service to have. This wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring Dr. Tony Goldsby from the Andersons.
Jim, so you've been in this industry for a while. I think I saw somewhere, 30 some years. Talk about some of the biggest changes you've seen in this industry.
I mean, look at how fast it's changing now. It's crazy. In the
That's
last
unreal.
5 years.
Can't even keep up.
There's robots in every other course in our area already. To me, collecting the data, the last 10 years of where data collection has, gone from 10 years ago, it was people measuring their green speed with a stimp meter maybe once or twice a week, to now measuring clippings every day, measuring firmness every day, the GS3 ball, measuring the speed every day, and then seeing how the clippings affects the green speed and how your growth regulators affect the clippings. So you put in all these puzzles together, and when you start to realize how powerful some of this data is, you can never go back. So and like I was saying earlier, being a baseball guy, I've been inundated with statistics my whole life since I was 5 years old. All I did was read the back of baseball cards. This data collecting and statistics instantly resonated with me. And every time I saw something else that people were collecting, I would first look at it and say, why in God's green earth would I even need to know how many gallons of clippings I got on greens? And then once I started to measure it every day, I'm like, I can't believe how much it varies. So, because normally you would just drive past the guys mowing greens and go, are you guys getting anything today? And they're like, oh yeah, about the same as yesterday. That's it. That was your data collecting,
Yep.
Now it's I got, 2 gallons 5 days in a row, and all of a sudden it jumps to 7 gallons. So what happened? The soil temperature went from 55 to 62. And, you're at 150 growing degrees from your last primo spray. So you start to put all that together, and you're like, well, how can I stop that jump from next time? And how can I anticipate it? And that, we've come up with a really good program now when it comes to data collecting. So I think that's been the biggest change for me. There's so many other new programs. We're in when we're in love with the turf rad sensors for saving water on fairways. We have a very finite amount of water that we have. We don't have any way to recharge our ponds. So the longer I can stretch out that water, the better. I could dry this place down to like blood red on the maps, like where you're like, you couldn't have possibly had a blade of grass that even lived through that. And it's like you could play basketball on every fairway here. That tool is unbelievable. We've been working with Skim Turf now for the past 3 years. They're like the satellite. They're from Europe. That they've got offices now in America, but they provide satellite imagery that's really sophisticated and gives you all kinds of data that you can. We're primarily using it. I'm finding it the most valuable is managing traffic. I could see my stress of wherever there's traffic, whether it's from my own guys or from car traffic or whatever, and then just adjust a rope or change some pegs or whatever, and then like the next image, the stress is gone. So that stuff's been pretty cool, and we actually just demoed our first robot demos this past Monday, and I definitely see some possibilities with that, like getting some of the nuisance clubhouse grounds and things like that maybe out of my hair in the future, which would be great.
You mentioned on the data standpoint, I mean, is clipping yield been the one that's been the biggest game changer for you, or is there something else that's been?
Yeah, the clipping yield is linking the soil temperatures, the speed, and your PGR effectiveness. It links all of that together. So having the clipping yield and the other data points, it's a big circle of like, okay, if this one's out of whack, it's because this one needs to be adjusted. I'm at 6 ounces of Primo. I need to add an ounce of a new to get my gallons back under 7 gallons of clippings. So we sort of play that game the whole summer and watching the soil temperature each day at the same time. So you like at 7:30 every day, the soil temperature is this. So then you'll see like, soon as it like hits like a magic number, like it hits 60, the clipping yield goes up, and you have to totally adjust your growth regulators after that. And you also the other way too, when you're in the shoulder seasons, you're like, I got a half a gallon of clipping. Do I even need to mow greens today? Like, like the greens are going to be 13 feet even if I don't mow. Like, why am I beating the greens up? So we're learning that too. So like, it's like, you're learning what to do and what not to do, depending on the time of the year. So, again, saving a little bit of labor and also wear and tear, which we always can use that.
Was it a training process to get the team kind of used to the process of collecting that information so that it's repeatable?
Yeah, and my assistants, they the more they see it and the more they learn, the more they embrace it. And they even say, they're like, I'm realizing now that every place I've ever worked is just spraying growth regulators without really knowing what they're getting out of it,
Yeah.
and then just one day, like a member goes, I don't know, I left a couple of putts short today. Greens seem a little slower, but you have no idea that you went from 4 gallons of clippings to 12 gallons of clippings in one day because the guys mowing greens just go, I got about the same as yesterday.
Yeah.
You don't really have anything to quantify it.
Yeah.
And you just think like this member just left 2 putts short. And now he's blaming me, but maybe it is me.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny how that works. I just wanted to ask you if there's anything that you see in the future tech-wise, whether it's a drone sprayer or an autonomous bunker rake or something like that you're really excited for?
Yeah, so we have, and I saw one. I don't think that they're readily available yet. I saw videos, and I think there was one at this the national show this year, an autonomous bunker rake that's tiny. And the reason why I'd want it tiny is so we have billy bunkers, right? So and the golfers, and I don't think it's just relegated to my membership. I think golfers in general, they want the banks to be firm enough where most balls roll down to the bottom, but then the bottom to be a little bit fluffy, right? So our Billy bunkers now are already, I can't believe it, but they're already, this is the 7th season, and they're still perfect. But what we typically do is I'll say, okay, rake the bottom of the bunker with the bunker rake, and then hand rake the whole bunker on top of it, so that the bottom is a little fluffy from the tines, but the banks are still tight. But the bunker rake is not small enough for some of our bunkers. It's essentially raking the whole bunker. So if we had like a nice, real little one that just really raked the bottom, I think that would be awesome. And just send that thing out like an hour before the guys go out, and then have the guys just go behind them and hand rake the whole bunker. That's how I would end up doing it here at a high end place. But then maybe a low end place would just say rake the whole bunker or whatever, But that would be neat, because you would have to make it. It would have to be small enough where it'd be smaller than the 3-wheel thing that everybody uses now. Like it would be a little bit smaller than that. Which the one video I saw, that thing was definitely smaller. So I definitely could accomplish what I want to. But I think it was I think the product was like either in Australia or it was somewhere overseas, but I don't think it was readily available yet.
Yeah. It's coming.
It'll be here sooner or later.
Yeah, you guys will have
It's
it
coming.
This episode of Turf Today is brought to you by the USGA Green Section. They provide superintendents with research, education, and tools to help improve conditions and advance the game. You can get the Green Section record completely free. Just head to our link in bio on Instagram and sign up. And also stay tuned. We'll be doing more Rolling with the Green Section episodes coming very soon.
You talked about like those firm bunker faces. Have you toyed with like the Australian method or anything like that?
Yeah, they hate it.
Rolling faces.
They
hate it.
Don't want it. They just don't like the look. I think the look looks kind of cool, but a couple of the clubs around had them, and they said, "Hey, have you seen like how some people are raking bunkers?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They call it the Aussie method, and they're like, "Yeah, don't do that." Boss, they're signing the checks. I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah. That's great. So I'm glad you kind of mentioned that. Talk about the relationship with, whether it's a Greens committee, just your membership in general. It sounds, you mentioned earlier that you keep them. You have regular contact and communication with them, but just talk about the importance of maintaining those relationships, balancing what they want versus what you want, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And being seen on the golf course is important too. Spend some time at the first tee on the weekends where, during the premium tee times. And, most of those people are the decision makers of the club. On Saturdays and Sundays, and here it's really like Fridays and Saturdays seem to be more busy than Sundays nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's in general or just at this.
It's mandatory golf Fridays, man. Everyone's taking off early and going to play golf.
Yeah.
That's
like
my life goal right there.
Yeah, but like they get something from me every week. But then we have a really robust men's golf committee and a really robust women's golf committee, and we include them in everything that the Greens committee does. So like when I have a consultant report or something like that, we share it with all of them as well. So it's not just the Greens committee getting all this information. In fact, the men's and the women's golf chair have to be Green committee members. So like if they become the men's golf chair, they are now on the Greens committee too. So the more people that understand some of that stuff, and of course the board of directors the same way. So there's members of the board of directors that are just a tennis player. They represent tennis, so they're a tennis player, but they're getting all of our reports and seeing what we're up to and stuff. So I think the more people that get that information, the more questions can be answered, correctly. And same thing like goes with all the department heads here. All the department heads get everything from me. So, I want the chef and the golf pro and the assistant manager to be able to answer a question like today we rebuilt our first green. Today is the day we actually opened it. I wanted to make sure every department head knew what day that green was opening. So like if the clubhouse manager or something hears two ladies having lunch in the dining room saying like, I can't wait for that green to be open, but I have no idea when. No matter how many times you put it out in a newsletter, nobody reads, a lot of people don't read the newsletter. And I want him to be able to say, oh, it's opening this Friday. And there's plenty of tea times available if you want me to make you a tea time so like that. Having everybody on the same page is so important, like locker room guys, the bartenders, whatever it is. Some clubs, I've worked at clubs where like everything goes through the bartenders, and other clubs where everything goes through the locker room guys. And like this club, the caddies, between the caddies and the golf staff, they have the most one-on-one FaceTime with the members. So, I spend a lot of time talking to the caddies. The caddies play golf here on Mondays when we're closed and stuff. And I always stop and, BS with them for a little bit just to like let them know what I'm thinking, what we're doing. We're doing this new cart path here. It should be done in a week. So now that when they're like doing a loop and they hear members saying like, when the heck is this cart path going to be done? And they're like, I was just talking to Jimmy the other day. It should be done this Friday. Like that stuff is great. It goes a long way.
Yeah, in your experience and all your time in the industry, we've all unfortunately seen some bad situations at clubs. Do you think a lot of those situations arise because of a lack of communication?
Yeah, I think that practically all of them are. Because they're just gonna write their own report if you're not. Yeah. If you're not communicating it, they're just going to be like, he's just lost it. That's why the greens are thin or slow or whatever, So like they'll write that for you. So if you're not going to say it ahead of time and get under what are my first green chairman here said, under promise and over deliver. If you think a project's going to be done for the spring, say we're hoping to have this done by Memorial Day, so that when it's done before Mother's Day, you're a hero. So and so there's always that's like a good way to go about things too.
The golf course can be so busy, and those relationships, those inter-department relationships can be so important. And you guys definitely keep things high and tight and professional over there, but it sounds like you like to have a little bit of fun too. So please, you got to tell us the license plate cover story.
Oh, that happened at the Edison Club, but it was good. So one thing I had no idea is like living in that Albany and Saratoga area, you're really close to Western Mass. So there's a lot of people that bleed in from Western Mass. There's a lot of Red Sox fans. And my kids will tell you, I probably have more Red Sox fan friends than I have Yankee fan friends. And they couldn't believe it as little kids because they hear what I would say about the Red Sox and and they're like, "You're friends with them?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's okay. It's okay to be friends."
It's how it works when you get older.
we had this great Toro equipment salesman, and I'm still good friends with him to this day. We deer hunt and things like that. And but he'd come in all the time with a Red Sox hat, a Red Sox jacket, this and that. And almost my entire crew were all hardcore Yankee fans. So I'm in the mall one day and we're going past one of those sports like stores like that sells jerseys and stuff. So I'm like, oh, I'm getting that license plate frame, that the New York Yankees license plate frame. And my wife's like, we already got one. I'm like, no, I'm getting this for something else. This is for something else, right? So I bring it to work. I give it to the mechanic. I'm like, put this in your toolbox. The next time John comes, I'm going to offer to take him a ride around the course, which I never once did. So I know 100% he's going to say yes. So, and I'm like, when I take him, you bolt this to the back of his truck. And so couple days later, he shows up. I'm like, John, want to come up? We were putting an irrigation system at the time. Want to come and see the project? And he's like, oh yeah. So we go off. I drop him back off like 20 minutes after a 20-minute tour or whatever. Drop him back off. I don't even go near the truck. We just go inside. He drives off, right? Comes back to the shop like a couple weeks later, and he goes, "You guys are going to get a kick out of this because you guys are all, Yankee fans." He goes, "This guy at the distributorship put a Yankees license plate on my truck. I know it's him because he's always busting my chops." So me and the mechanic are like holding a straight face, and he goes, "So I got this like I won't repeat what it says, but a derogatory sticker about Derek Jeter in Boston. I stuck it right on his bumper." And me and Bob are like, "Oh my God." But we didn't do anything about it. So this is still like the fall, right? So we had a large decent sized shop with a pretty big crew, and my mechanic also ground reels for probably about 6 or 7 mom and pop courses. So every year in December, we would invite all of those crews over and have like a big Christmas party and end up like a big poker game at the end and stuff. And we'd invite all the salesmen too, and including John. So I took his old license plate cover and I wrapped it in a present. And it was so perfect because John couldn't come to the party. He's like, I won't be there till like 5 o'clock. I got to come late. I have something to do, this and that, but I'll still come if you guys are going to play poker. So he shows up. So he's sitting there at the poker table. So I hand him this present. I'm like, we got presents for all the salesmen for like, thank you for like such a successful year, whatever, just totally BS them. And he unwraps the present and he's standing there like staring at this like dealership plate. And he's looking, he's like, "Oh my God." He's like, "Oh my God." He's like, "That was you guys?" He had no idea. It was like months later. He's like, "Oh, I got to call up and like apologize to like 2 people."
I owe somebody a phone call.
Oh, it was so great.
Well, that's awesome. So along those lines of just being able to do that kind of stuff with, distributor reps and whatever, just talk about the relationships with some of your peers in the area. Is it kind of the same way?
Yeah, you have to, you can't do this all by yourself. So like, we're lucky enough to have a lot of really good distributors in our area that are former superintendents. So they have a lot, they have a lot of wisdom and advice, and you could ride around on the course with them and stuff. And then all of the superintendents in the area are pretty tightly knit. I mean, I can't tell you how many emails go out where, someone's just like, "My club wants to know how many assistants everybody has." And like, send it to like 30 guys. And in like 2 hours, you get 30 responses. And then the guy puts a whole spreadsheet together and shares it with everybody. Like, that's the kind of area we're in. So when you need a helping hand, there's people instantly here. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure it's like that in most of the country, but there's such a concentration of golf courses here. You can't.
Yeah. Well, and that's such a unique area too, because like you mentioned, with just around you, there's 8 very high-end private clubs. So I mean, competition is
in one town.
It's through the roof. Yeah. I mean, and then you cross the border, and then you've got dozens of other very high-end ones. So sometimes that competition in most other industries, obviously it's guys are like this, but I'm glad to hear, even with such high competition up there, that it's still as tight knit and guys are as open to share as they are in other parts. It's great.
It is. I mean, when it boils down to it, let's face it, we're outdoor working guys, not so different from a farmer. So it's usually good people that are farmers, and lending a helping hand. So I like to look at it that way. And we're all in the same boat, and we're all under the same amount of pressure, and everyone knows that. So when someone needs a little hand or some advice, or what rate are you using that at? Hey, I heard you use this new product. What rate are you order that right in, or can you order that tonight? Like it's like you get instant answers for that stuff. So it's awesome.
And you talk about that pressure. The higher you get in this industry, or more competition around you, the more pressure there's going to be. And you talk about going to baseball games, working outside, or hunting and fishing and that kind of thing. I'd love for you just to talk about, especially having a career like this, how do you find the time to sort of have that work-life balance, having a job that's this demanding?
Yeah, I mean, in the season, I'll be honest with you, I break all of those work-life balance rules. Like I'm here, I live on the property. The only time,
Oh, wow.
the only reason why I go to the Yankee games is because I'm committed to, because I have the season.
Spent the money.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
Gotta go.
If I gave that up, I'd probably go to 5 games a year. You know what I mean? But it's like you're almost obligated. Like, oh man, I got tickets tonight. Whatever. But and then I just try to have as much fun as possible in the off season. My wife is from Florida. She's from originally from Vero Beach, and 10 years ago we bought a small house down there. So I have a place to go whenever I want. And this year we were down there for like because the National was down there at the same time and stuff. So we were down there for better part of 7 weeks straight, and I'll do nothing but fish every day if the weather's good. We just have a good time. And then during the season, it's all business. I try to have a little bit of fun here and there. And like even when my kids are now 20 and 22, both in college, but even when they were grade school, because I was always here, they were in and out of the shop every day, and it wasn't like they just didn't see me. So it was a good situation. It's not for everybody. I say that to people, like this level of golf is not for everybody. Depending on what you want out of it, but it's been very good to us.
Awesome. Well, Jim, this hour has absolutely flown by. This has been an absolute blast. Adam, I don't know if you have anything else.
The only other thing I wanted to ask, just having somebody like you on the show, we would love for you to have, just offer up some advice for younger people or newer people in the industry.
I would just say, to start your network now. Pay attention to if you're just on the crew, working your way up to become an assistant one day and ultimately a superintendent. Pay attention to the distributors and salesmen that remember your name, and don't just walk in and say, "Is Jim around?" And they know your name from last time. Those are the people that I'm doing business with now, 30 years later. And use especially the former superintendents, use those as your beginning network between and the people that you're going to school with. But the more you get that out there, and then when it comes time for you looking for a job, and it might be out of your area, you can. And we were just having this conversation with my assistants the other day. You're looking at an area 3 states away. You could go to your Harrell's salesman and say, "Do you know the Harrell salesman that calls out to this golf course? I'm applying to it. Do they pay their bills? Is it a nice course?" It's like having that network is invaluable. I mean, you could. There's so many advantages to having people that at your fingertips to get information and help you succeed. So that's my number one advice. I mean, just pay attention to all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the network is everything in this industry. There's no question.
Yeah.
Well, we always like to give our guests a couple minutes here at the end just to kind of talk about whatever you want to talk about. So we'll open the floor to you, Jim.
Well, I mean, I think we pretty much covered most of it. I'm newly on the Audubon board now. So one of my goals with that is to try to get younger superintendents and try to get some more excitement and more participation in that, especially with the younger generations coming in. that was one of my goals when I joined that board. They said, like, what do you hope to accomplish or whatever? And I said, well, you guys did such a great job educating people when this program first came on the scene, and me as an assistant, I was just like, I'm definitely doing this, and that sort of like lost some of its fire over the past 25, 30 years or whatever. So I'm hoping to start to work on that. Between that and the BMPs and things, I think that should just be, second nature. Like we were talking about earlier, it doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't even take a lot of extra work. It's just organizing your thoughts and maybe documenting some things, keeping good photos. We're all walking around with really sophisticated cameras now. You don't have to have a camera bag anymore. These phones are taking better pictures than $2,000 cameras took 5 years ago. So.
And take pictures of the good things too. I see the photo scroll, and a lot of superintendents, and it's all the bad stuff,
And I have a PhD in forgetting to take before pictures.
It's the worst.
I have almost zero before pictures of anything I've ever done.
Oh,
I would say try to kind of remember that.
Yeah,
because it's hard to forget. It's hard to remember, how crummy a area was that you beautified or you changed and you fixed, and you take a picture of it after. No one ever remembers that it was all like tree roots and rubble there, 3 months ago. Like now it's like beautiful grass or mulch or whatever. But I always forget to take the before pictures.
That's awesome. Well, Jim, we can't thank you enough for coming on today and giving us an hour. So we really appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Jim. Yeah, this is great.
I got one final one before we go here. One final one. Old Yankee Stadium or new Yankee Stadium?
I'll tell you what, and this is going against the grain a little bit. I like new Yankee Stadium, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. So when they built the new Yankee Stadium opened in 2009. So in 2009, my children were 3 and 5. And when you walk these new stadiums, when you walk away from your seats, no matter if you're going to get popcorn or food or drinks or whatever, you can turn around and still see the field. You don't walk down into a hallway and disappear. And that's also the reason why when you watch a Yankee game, it looks like half the people aren't there, but they say there's 47,000 in attendance. It's because you don't have to sit in your seat and watch the game. So I found that really valuable having little kids, because I could basically keep them moving instead of them having ants in their pants and asking them to go home by the third inning. I could, in the third inning, bring them and walk them halfway around the stadium to get them popcorn, then walk the other half of the way and eat up like 2 innings, then sit down for another 3 innings. So I like that whole setup. And even though my kids are grown, I still like that setup. I'll never forget the first time I went to Camden Yards, and it was the first year it opened. And I was like, I can't believe these people have this nice of a stadium. I would come to a game every day if I lived in Baltimore. It was so beautiful. And then you go back to Yankee Stadium, your feet stuck to the floor, and like it was just gross. So yes, I do miss the history of old Yankee Stadium. Don't get me wrong. And but I really do like the new modern conveniences that the new stadiums come with. And so that's basically my 5-cent spiel on it.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. I didn't get to go to the old one, but the new one's on my bucket list. So we'll get there one day.
Well, if you
people watching in the old Yankee Stadium was top notch. No question.
It's amazing too when you actually feel the cement shake.
Yeah.
When something big happens, especially postseason, like literally the ground shakes, like it shakes.
Yeah. It's like being in the upper deck at Penn State during a big game. Like you can feel, it's like, are we safe up here? This is
I've said that to myself, but I guess it's designed that way.
Yeah. It just adds to the ambiance, I guess. So
yeah,
love it
for sure.
Jim, this has been fantastic. I'll be out your neck of the woods sometime later this year, so I'm gonna have to hit you up.
Let me know.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jim. Appreciate you joining us. This was a fantastic episode. No question.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All
Okay,
right.
take care, Jim. Thank you.
I'll see you.
What a professional.
That was a great episode.
What a professional.
Yeah. You did a great job.
It's always tough. He said, well, we covered everything. No way, Jim. We could have talked to you
I
all
know,
day long.
I know.
Like, would have been really cool to talk to him about just him being a bit of a mentor, because he's probably pushed on so many different guys over the years. And he nominated one of his old assistants to come on the show as well. So, there's lots more to unpack with a guy like that. But the fact that he talked as much as he did and, told some fun stories and talked about things that he's gone through, that's a action-packed episode.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was really good.
Yeah, one of the things that I really thought was interesting was you can really create a narrative at your golf course by telling the story.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like it's free. It's free for you to go out there and explain why you're doing things, how important things are, and just keeping people updated. And if you're always sort of telling that story and being positive and showing the change and showing why you're doing things, there's no reason why people wouldn't be behind that and support you and probably want you to be around for a long time because of what you're doing and you're planning things in the future, and it's costing you absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So guys out there that are kind of hiding on the course and not wanting to talk to members or not wanting to update people and worrying about what people are saying, you can actually change that narrative and control that by how you're talking to different staff, different departments, different golfers, and just telling that story. So I thought that was really important that he highlighted that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a part of every presentation that I give when I'm traveling around. That's always one of the key points that I try to get in front of everyone is, be the person telling your story. Don't let, like Jim said, it used to be the bartender or the bag drop staff or, the golf shop. They would be the ones controlling the narrative because they'd have the most face time. Whereas if you're proactive and you're doing a lot of the things that Jim mentioned, a weekly update, going out, talking to your members on the first tee on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's going to squash so many problems before they can get started, because you are the one telling your story. It's not a member going into the bar after their rounds talking about XYZ and the bartender, oh yeah, that sucks, blah, blah, blah. It's, if you're out there telling that story, if you're telling people why things are the way they are, what you're working on, why you're working on it, all that kind of stuff, you're just, it's going to eliminate so many potential issues. So whether it's a newsletter, videos, just talking to people, you gotta be proactive.
Mm-hmm. And there's a big shift with golf too. I think people are starting to understand that the golf course can't be perfect every single day. Yeah. It takes a lot of work. There's things that are going to come up. So
depends which golf course you go to.
Good point. Yeah. But it's just good to have that open, honest conversation of this is what's happening. This is how long it's going to take. You guys might encounter some issues, but we'll get there. And as long as everybody gets that, then there's no rumors going around or questions or everyone's sitting, well, what are they going to do? When's it going to be done? We know when it's going to be done. We know what they're doing, and we'll try and support them as best we can. And that's how you have a healthy culture at your golf course.
Yep, absolutely. Fantastic. All right, dude. Well, I hate to cut this short. I got to run. I got to go to Cleveland for lacrosse here in a little bit, so I got to go pick my son up early from school.
Okay, buddy. Great job today.
All right. See ya. Yeah, you too. See ya.
Okay. Bye. What a time, everybody. A great episode. It was so nice to get to chat with Jim, tell his story, and laugh along. My goodness, what a quick hour on our end. Hope everybody enjoyed it. We will see you next week for another awesome episode with another great interview with the superintendent from your industry. And this guy you are also going to like. We got a great string right now. We're on a good ride. This is fun. So also wanted to mention on the intro, Beats by Wooga has been dropping them from the beginning, and he's got more coming too. He's not done. So we're going to switch it up a little bit more often every once in a while, as we always have. And any suggestions, definitely throw it our way, but he's been having fun with it. All right, everybody, keep those things sharp. We'll see you soon.
Shining on a cloudy day, and it don't matter what you say, 'cause even if the sky is falling, I'ma do it anyway. So save your worries, slide your loving. I can feel that good things coming. Finally believe that it's gonna be a bright one here.
was in my own head. Yeah, I was getting tired of trying, forgetting every word that I said in all those old conversations that turned into a melody. I'll be waiting for autumn days ahead of me. Those words that pulled me under are never coming back again. I like my beat with some soul, I like my girl with some heart. I only love with my whole, I don't know how to give part. I don't know how we gon' finish, but I love how we done start. So let's take a night to just be who we are. So I ain't got the time or the energy, unless it's towards a goal or a memory, and to be doing things that I don't really love. Only light I had was coming from the sun, but now I'm shining on a cloudy day, and it don't matter what you say, cause even if the sky is falling, I'ma do it anyway. So save your worries, slide your loving. I can feel that good things coming. Finally believe that it's gonna be a bright one here.
Every day I got a light one, yeah. Never not that it a tight one, yeah. No, I keep it 100 every time I come in trouble. No, we coming with the right ones, yeah. 35 can't play, get a bag on ya. Never with the games, put a tag on ya. I ain't getting lit cause my future too bright. Joey hit me up, I said that shit's on site. No, it's too nice. No ops, no lights, new heights that we never hit before, and I'm feeling too white. Gotta roll like a road on. Major difference is a platinum and a gold songs. Whoa, oh, you already know I can make your life a push star, press go. Say we're off to a good start, let's smoke. Blew the brains off the coupe, baby, explode, yeah.
Shining on a cloudy day, and it don't matter what you say, cause even if the sky is falling, I'ma do it anyway. So save your worries, slide your loving. I can feel that good things coming. Finally believe that it's gonna be a bright one here. We all sing together. Hey. Shining on a cloudy day, and it don't matter what you say. Woo! Cause even if the world is ending, I'ma do it anyway. So save your worries, slide your loving. I can feel that good things coming. Finally believe that it's gonna be a bright one here.